is receptive. And I think the best scene of that is probably Summer Madness, the URL event. I'm not sure if the listeners are familiar, but URL, the battle rap, URL TV, the battle rap company, they them and Caffeine actually hosted Summer Madness 11, which is pretty much like the WrestleMania, as Lau always refers to the WrestleMania of. This is like the WrestleMania of URL. It's one of their biggest events. They actually held it in Houston. It was a sold out event. I'll put it like this. For it to be the event that it was supposed to be, like you said, sometimes you need a beat, man, because some of these guys, some of these acts weren't the best.
Let's get the bad ones out the way first.
All right, so let's just start from the very beginning, right? From the very first battle, MVP versus Real Name Brandon. Wasn't that? Yeah, it wasn't.
We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, it was to me. Battle rap wise, I do want to say this. I think MVP to me came out trying to start off with punchlines. He was a little too heavy with punchlines coming out, and he wasn't doing, his setups weren't the best. So he wasn't trying, he was anticipating the crowd's reaction in his bars, which kind of messed him up versus just keep rapping. And if the crowd reacts, they react. So he ended up having a bad performance. Real Name Brandon, he was more of a performer to me in comparison to MVP, but at the same time, and he actually was getting a better crowd reception, but he was just marginally better. So hopefully these guys kind of get their act together, and hopefully they can, Real Name Brandon, he can, and hopefully it does something forward in terms of his career.
I'm not mad at Real Name Brandon for the battle. I think he played a decent role. Like you said, he was a better performer, and I think that's as to why some of his bars got off a little bit more during the performance. To me, the battle itself as a whole just wasn't all that great. But, shouts out to Real Name Brandon for at least bringing something to the battle that was cool. Not to say that MVP was a trash rapper. I don't want to do all that to him, but wasn't my favorite.
Right. They weren't that far apart in terms of talent for the most part. But I mean, even outside of that, right? Like, I mean, it was an opening act. It's great to see them on the Summer Madness stage. But following that, they actually ended up being, I believe, the opener for Arsenal versus Lou Castro, which ended up being a good battle in terms of, to me, I have Arsenal winning that. Either I would say 3-0, but I can see someone saying 2-1 because Lou Castro wasn't that great in his first two rounds. In that third round, he just went crazy. So but even then, I can see how it's still at 3-0.
Me personally, I'm going to give it you know what? I'm going to give it a 2-1 because I think Lou Castro might have took that. Well, I can't even remember the third round that Arsenal had at the moment, but I think Arsenal did enough. Matter of fact, no, let me restart that because I remember now. I'm going to give that a 3-0 for Arsenal just because I feel that overall his performance was just better and he was hitting some schemes and rhymes that seemed that until the third round, Lou Castro just wasn't hitting. I think we had said that as we were watching it last night, maybe he just didn't have 3 rounds worth of that third round. But the third round was a good round.
Yeah, it was. I think like even from I think it was Arsenal he did the power flip of the streets need a body. And to me, I think that was like a crazy line as well as the that was Surf. But yeah, like he did a great job, but even with Lou Castro, like you said, he had a fire third round, which to me personally, I think what probably happened was I think his third round may have been the first round he wrote, right? And because it was so good, I felt like when he had to write round 2 and when he wrote his first and second round, I think he was trying to anticipate like, yo, I wrote my third round first. And I need my first 2 rounds to follow up with it because with a third round that strong, it wasn't rebuttal heavy or anything. With a third round that strong, I could have seen that being like, this was like, yo, you should have started here. This is how you should have started the battle, right? But at the same time, it's like for you not to start the battle with that type of intensity as the third round, I'm guessing, like you said, he didn't have those other 2 rounds, and more than likely he was writing those afterwards, trying to make them. He probably was dealing with the pressure of writing 2 more rounds that sounded as good as that third, man. But shout outs to Lou Castro. Hopefully he learns from this and he can kind of that third round does enough for him to move him forward.
So what was the next battle?
The next battle was actually Chess versus Easy to Block Captain.
The best battle of
hands
the night.
Hands down, battle of the night. I do think I think there were some people saying that this was a debatable. To me, I got Easy to Block Captain 3-0 in chess. I can argue 2-1, which is fine. But Easy to Block Captain, he was just more better of a battler. Anything in terms of the subject matter, any points that chess was trying to go to with Easy to Block Captain, he was playing in his own within his realm, whether it be talking about being locked up, the streets, whatever. It's like, hey, I think Easy to Block Captain said something of like, yo, when I called my first gun charge was back in 2008, and you wasn't even a decade old. So like, it just lets you know, like, in terms of the life experience that he was pulling from, it's hard to outbeat someone when you play at their game.
So in my opinion, I feel like Easy to Block Captain was just good at doing the, streets, life type rap. You know what I mean? Real
Right.
bars, da 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 da. I mean, I think that Chess was good at it as well, but I don't think he was really matching Easy in what he was doing. And I think that his second round really kind of saved him from being 3-0'd. But that being said, though, I mean, when somebody's that good at rapping about that, you can't really do that with them. So I feel like you kind of got to change your strategy just a little bit. I mean, me personally, it's like trying to rap with like Lux about like, priorities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be your best decision.
Well, something like that. I mean, priorities probably. Let's not use priorities. Only reason I say that is because priorities is a term by X Factor. That's his slogan.
I'm wrong. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm tripping.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Like, because at the end of the day, Lux thing is like activism and like the conscious thing, which is essentially priorities, nonetheless. Just a different way of putting it. So like, but now, nonetheless, though, I definitely see that where it's like you can't fight it's not always easy to play someone else's game and win, right? So I definitely can give you that. I think this was the battle that came up afterwards. After that Easy to Block Captain battle, I believe was Hollow to Don versus K Shine.
So this was the last battle that I actually enjoyed from the night. I think that Hollow to Don is a very good battle rapper. And when I hear him rap, I think that he's just usually good at going in and being a performer. But not only that, actually having good rhyme schemes and whatever. It just seemed like he was out rapping K-Shine and also outperforming K-Shine. It just seemed like no matter what K-Shine did in the next round, he was going to lose the Hollow. So like me personally, I enjoyed that battle, but it wasn't because it was necessarily competitive.
Yeah, I can agree there. To me, when I watched the battle, I did see where that Hollow had the clear advantage. Hollow kind of came into this battle, and we all know Hollow does what Hollow does, which is being able to be funny. He doesn't always have to go with a lyrical miracle style but he knows how to incorporate being funny while also adding that sense of lyricism into the battle. So I think he was able to achieve that. And I think K-Shine was having a hard time. The crowd looked like they weren't going for him, and which was reasonable because to me, Hollow was just a better battler. I kind of did. This battle kind of did lose me somewhat because to me, it felt one-sided for the most part. So Hollow is Hollow to Don, and I had to give it to Hollow as well. The battle that followed that, though, was probably one of the most awaited battles of this card, which was Sue Surf versus John the Don. As the announcers would say, the Sue Surf's arch enemy, his arch rival, John the Don.
So does that have any truth to it whatsoever? Listeners, you got to understand, I'm not really in the rap battle culture like that.
Yeah. So just to give you a little backstory, right? So I wouldn't necessarily say they're arch rivals because they're not, as you saw that night, they weren't. Well, let me not even say that, but they're not arch rivals, right? They know each other. They're all cool.
Right.
Battle rappers for the most part. And actually going back to Lou Castro's battle where they kept doing this shoulder bump the whole night. Like most of these guys are friends outside of this. This is just like, hey, I'm going to push you, bump you, but we friends. Once we get out of here, we're probably gonna go to the bar or club together.
Right.
So there's never been a thing, but John the Don has been chasing Sue Surf for a while. He's been begging to get a battle with him for the past couple of years, and he did finally get his match. He finally got his one wish, you can say. And of course, what happened was you separate the boys from the men in this battle. To me, John the Don was doing a great job. He performed well. I liked his rounds. He was making it a fight, and some will probably say it's a debatable. But to me, when Sue Surf kind of got on stage, he even said, "We're not in Houston tonight. We're in New Jersey." And he made sure we felt that by just bar after bar, whether it was basketball flips, whether it was just talking to him, no matter what, wherever he wanted to go, he could take it to John. And John had a hard time that night. I give it to Surf. I don't think I'm very curious. I'm really curious. I wish they had post press conferences saying the same as they do in the UFC, because I would love to hear them two talk about them recapping this, or if they did, I may have missed it.
Well, as far as the John to Don battle, me personally, I thought that Sue Surf won. I thought that overall, I think more of his performance was good. I think that his bars hit a little harder. And me personally, I wasn't necessarily looking forward to it, but after the performance he put on against, who did he battle at the last battle we watched together, Spence?
You're talking about John the Don or Sue Surf?
Sue Surf.
I think the last battle we may have seen him may have been Reed Dollars. He battled Reed Dollars later. It was when he battled Lux. He battled Lux at the Quiet Room last summer.
So after seeing the Lux battle, I was curious to see what he did, and I think that he put on another amazing performance. Now, going on to Reed Dollars, and we don't have to stick on these last battles too long. Yeah. They weren't enjoyable to me, and that's all I really have to say about them.
Yeah, well, and listen, to me personally, I'm willing to go even further, a step further. To me, I think the way I was going to introduce the next battle, the co-main, which was Murder Mook versus Reed Dollars, was that this may have been the worst battle of the night.
It was. Not me.
Yeah. And I say that knowing that there wasn't a big fandom or a fan reaction from MVP versus Real Brandon, which was the opening act. That opening act was better than this. I don't even know if I would say a battle, because the crowd wasn't receptive to Mook. Neither were they receptive as much to Reed Dollars. Similar to one of my friends has said that they think Reed Dollars probably needs a few more battles before he gets in there to be on that big of a stage, which is possible because Reed is pretty much, for a lack of better terms, how Sue Surf said to John in their face-off about Ace Amin, he's still learning how to battle rap to some extent, right? Or get him, in Reed's case, he's just getting himself more acclimated back to the battle rap culture. So he lost this. I wouldn't even say Reed lost. I would say the only person that won was the promoter in this case. Because this was a long, I'm not sure if you know, this was a long awaited battle. This is a battle that was supposed to happen when these two guys were the biggest battle rappers in the world back in the the mid 2000s. Yeah, mid 2000s, early 2000s is a different era.
Here's the thing. My bad, sorry, go ahead.
During that era, this was the biggest fan awaited battle, and then they ended up putting it together at this time. Similar to Nick Diaz, how Nick Diaz said, I don't know why this even happened. Well, I don't even know who booked this.
Here's my thing, right? Like, as far as that battle goes, like, I'm not really into the culture. So, like, I watched that battle. I didn't enjoy it. I'm not going to watch it again. And as far as Nick Diaz goes, now, we'll move into that in a bit. We'll move into that a bit. But I wasn't really a big fan of that battle at all.
Yeah, and because I just want to close this out with the main event of the night, which was Gichigati versus Calico. No. Wasn't a big fan of it either. And I think it was partially because it wasn't a bad battle, right? They were both good battle rappers. I think the thing was when the co-main event is just not that great. And let's be honest, this is battle rap is fan dependent to some extent, right? And I think Sue Surf showed that a lot because when you saw him against Lux in the quiet room, he was having a hard time and he ended up choking. But once you put him in front of a crowd, he does well. So I think crowd reaction does play a part when it comes to battle rap and for battlers to feed off of. And to me, it just felt like the Gichigati one, the Gichigati Calico, whether it be the fans in the building or whether it be me as a fan, it didn't do it for me. So it wasn't a bad battle. I'll probably give it to. I'm not even gonna say who I think won because I didn't pay enough attention to it to be able to make an accurate prediction. Because by this time the pay per view had already started for UFC 266. So
I mean, I hadn't really paid attention, so let me not be so hard on it either. But yeah, by that time, listeners, we were moving on to